Shalom, shalom, Mishpachah. This is Yared Yao checking in with Hebrew News. Let's get into it. Shalom, shalom, Mishpachah. This is Yared Yao. The minds of men are controlled, and this is what moves the the nature of reality, you guys. If you can control the mind of man, then you can control the nature of reality. We welcome you guys to Hebrew News. What we are doing today is getting things straight in the form of the biblical knowledge that we have about the shape of the world that we live in. This is the battle for earth, y'all, and the battle is waged in the minds of mankind. So whatever the enemy can do to keep you from understanding, to keep you from knowing, to keep you from believing what the text says about your reality, the more he can control what you will do, the more you are enslaved to him, you guys. So let's start off right away with an understanding that we have here of the shape of the world. You guys, we understand it as settled science that the earth is flat. We understand it as settled science that there is a firmament which covers this flat earth. We understand it as settled science that the earth was created by Elohim in the beginning, you guys. And so let's just go over really quickly what the Bible says about the earth and see if it matches what we believe today with our understanding of the world around us, you guys. Let's start off with the second day. And Elohim said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And Elohim made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And Elohim called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day," you guys. So this word firmament has been interpreted and misinterpreted 100 times, 1,000 times. But what it actually means, you guys, is that there is a solid structure that is in the sky, you guys. There is a solid structure that Elohim created to divide the waters below the heaven from the waters that are above the heavens. So what this means, you guys, is that there is nothing that can go outside of that firmament. Flesh and blood cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven, you guys. There is nothing that can go outside of the firmament. So when we look out and we see in the news now about people being brought back from space, you have to understand that it is propaganda at work, you guys. Let's take a look at this word for firmament. So they have it here as expanse, and we know an expanse can be anything, right? It can be an expanse of space. It can be an expanse of a field, or, a wide expanse. So let's look at what the word really means here. In Genesis chapter 1, this is the very beginning of the Bible, you guys. Genesis chapter 1. All right, this word is rakia, and this word means to the root word is raka, which means to beat something flat. Like you're taking a mallet and you're beating a bowl flat. So if you've got a metal tin or an aluminum tin, and you're beating it into the shape that you want it to be in, if you're a craftsman. And this is the metaphors, that the Bible will provide to you. The commonplace, the things that are normal to your life, the things that you would be using every day, or the things that you would be doing every day, like tending the sheep or fishing or carpentry. This is how the Bible describes the shape and the structure of the earth, and the structures that are in the earth, by the way that we would understand them as if it were a man doing it. This is the best way that Elohim can explain to us the actions that he's doing in Genesis 1, by comparing them to things that are in everyday life. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the root here is raka, which means, they say it means to spread out or to stretch. It actually means to beat flat. So they'll keep that from you, because they'll keep the solid understanding from your mind to try to put you in a different place. But let's look at what it actually means here. It says the term rakia refers to the expanse or the firmament that Elohim created to separate the waters above from the waters below. It says it is often understood as the sky or the heavens, serving as a dome-like structure that encompasses the earth. In the biblical creation narrative, it is described as a significant part of the ordered cosmos, demonstrating Elohim's sovereignty and creative power. You guys, the dome that is over the earth is a literal canopy structure with the stars placed in it and the sun and the moon just within, circling around the flat surface. It's not a globe. It's not circling around the sun. The sun is circling around the top of us, you guys. This is what the Bible describes. There is no other reality besides what the Bible describes. You have to understand that the Bible has predicted the futures of mankind since its inception, since the prophets, since Moses, since Abraham. The fate of mankind has been determined, has been decided, has been described in the pages of the Bible, in the words of these prophets. So there is no doubt in our minds whatsoever of the reality of what the Bible is saying. And so how do you get this information, right? How do you get this passed down from one person to the next to be able to be revealed in the Bible? Well, you guys, it's really not a mystery, because all nations earlier than 500 years ago believed the earth to be flat. The round earth is a new invention. It's a new convention that has been hoisted upon mankind as really its own style of religion, with the sun in the center of the heavens, you guys. Because we're still talking about the abode of Elohim. Does Elohim live in space? Does he live outside of this solar system? Does he live outside of this universe? If you have space to exist, it literally takes the place of the abode of Elohim. So you can't believe in both. It is in itself, you guys. This is what people don't understand about the scientific interpretation of heaven, that it in itself is replacement theology. You see, believing in the globe is its own religion. That's why they have to push it so hard, because they have entities, they have gods in this religion, the aliens, that are going to come down and present themselves as being people from other planets. And you can automatically say, there is no such thing as other planets. There's not even a such thing for the other planets to be in, because there's no such thing as space. What you see just looking up is a solid structure. And anything beyond that solid structure, the first thing beyond that solid structure is water. Then on top of that is a city. Then on top of that is a temple. Then inside of that is a throne surrounded by four creatures which say, holy, 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 Kadosh, 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 round the clock, you guys. This is the reality of reality. There's no space, there's no planets, there's no aliens, there's no meteors, there's no Big Bang, there's no cosmic strands, there's no black holes, there's no M theory, there's none of this stuff, there's no brain theory, none of these theoretical concepts are real, you guys. This is just the religion in process being made right before your eyes to explain away the abode of Elohim. You guys, this is it. This is the only understanding that we should have. So if you see things, people coming from space, and you see the big theatrics, you've seen right now that in the International Space Station, I believe it's the International Space Station, that there were 2 astronauts that were stuck there, quote unquote stuck there, and there had to be a rescue mission to go get them and bring them back to Earth, you guys. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. We know that it can't be the case. So there is something else going on. You're actually looking at metaphorical symbology being told in a an allegorical form. So when you're seeing these astronauts coming down to Earth, they're actually representatives. They're representing another entity that was kicked out of heaven and fell to earth. We know that that is Shaitan, you guys. This is the representation. When you see these people coming to earth, we know that it's not real. It's metaphorical. So it's representing the fall of their master, Shaitan. You see what I'm saying? So if we can just get deep into the way that we understand the shape of the world, you guys. This is the term rakia. This is the technology that is used by Elohim in order to create the environment that we live in now. We live in a sort of like a planetarium, like a I guess you would call it, like not an aquarium, because there's both the open part of the firmament, and then there's the land, and then there's the oceans, and then inside the land there's Sheol. But what we live in is really an environment, like a biodome, like a thunderdome, like a Super Bowl that we live in, that connects us to one another in this environment and disconnects us from the kingdom of heaven. Let's just take another look here at what we've got going on here. And so here in Psalm 19, we have a reference to this this understanding of reality that we have to get back into, you guys. It says, the heavens declare the glory of Elohim, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. This is that dome structure that exists in the sky. It says, day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. So you see here, the thing about it is, you guys, that the purpose of the heavens is not for the final frontier, or it's not to explore or to hold all these billions of light years of nothingness, you guys. According to Genesis chapter 1, the purpose of the heavens, the purpose of the stars, is for signs and seasons. So when we look up at the heavens, we're literally looking at a giant clock, the most complex and complicated clock there ever is, but it is a clock. And that clock has all sorts of moving pieces and parts. You have really the hour hand, which is the sun going across the face of the earth. You have the minute hand, which is the moon, which is going a little faster. If you have the hour hand and the minute hand going at the same speed, you would not be able to have an accurate clock. You would only have an hour accuracy in the, oh my gosh, what is happening? you would only have an hour accuracy in the depiction of the clock. So you would have to have different moving hands on the clock in order to make it accurate. So that's why you have the sun moving at the speed that it's moving at and the moon moving at a faster speed. So when they connect, you see it as a sign. You see it as a place in time, a marker in time, so that you can see what season that you're in, or a sign, you guys. This is the literal meaning of the heavens. And you guys have to understand also that it says here that their voice goes out to the end of the world. The voice of heaven. What voice does the heavens have? What voice is there in the heavens? You guys have to excuse, there is a fly in here. What voice does the heavens have that portrays to you any sort of knowledge or information? It's the time on the clock. And that time on the clock, you guys, is dwindling. You see, there is a star formation. There is a sun and moon address. There is a date where all things will end, where the heavens are rolled away like a scroll and the earth is renewed to a new heaven and a new earth. There is a date in the sky for that to happen, you guys. A date that only Elohim Yah, only Yah, our Elohim, knows this date, you guys. So you can be looking up at the stars, at the sky, at the pattern that's in the sky, and literally be looking at the last time that you will see those things. That date is already set now. Scripture says it is done. That the end of the world is set already. It exists right now. That star formation, that time on the clock, that address, that date in the calendar exists already right now. And literally, we are counting down until we get to that time, you guys. That is the reality of the stars. That is the language that they speak to us. That's the knowledge that they give to us. However, do we know? We can count. We can discern the face of the sky. We can see when things line up and when there is an order in the heavens. But we don't know when that order is going to end. And so that order goes all the way out to the end of the world, you guys. This is what the Bible tells us. This is the history of the future. And so it says, their line has gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. It says, in them he hath set a tabernacle for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. This is the sun that is circling around the earth. His going forth is from the end of heaven, and his circuit, that word circuit is circle, unto the ends of it, and there is nothing hidden from the heat thereof. You guys, it says, in them he has set a tabernacle for the sun. A tabernacle is a tent, you guys. That means that the heavens are a tent. They're not open, they're closed. We live in a closed environment, you guys. We live in a tabernacle. The tabernacle is a tent, you guys. We could even see here from Isaiah chapter 40. Let's go down here. And you guys may remember this from one of my videos here, one of the Flat Earth video I've got out. Been out for 10 years. We've been understanding, the shape of the earth for 10 years. It says, have ye not known? Have ye not heard? Hath it not been told you from the beginning? Have ye not understood from the foundations of the earth? You have to ask yourself this question. Have ye not understood from the foundations of the earth? Do you understand? Have you heard what the Bible has said? Has not this been told to you, that people believed back in the day that the earth was flat? This is the question here that Isaiah is asking. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what the scripture has the ability to do? It has the ability to ask you something that you have been mistaught from since your beginning? Do you see what I'm saying? This is a direct question. Haven't you known this stuff to be true? It says, it is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth. What's the difference between a circle and a sphere, y'all? A circle is flat. The circle of the earth and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers, that stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in. The heavens are a tent. You see, he is Raka. He is Raka, beating it flat so that it covers you like a tent. This is the understanding of the heavens, you guys. If anybody tells you anything different, they are lying to you. Maybe they themselves are fooled, but the lie is what's important. They are lying to you. So there is nothing beyond that we have to go off of except for what we are told, you guys. It says, he also placed a crystalline firmament. This is Josephus. I'm sorry, I just went into reading it. We know Josephus is a first century Levite who was alive around the same time as Messiah. So he would have believed and known information that is in the scripture that we ourselves might in this modern era reject or, interpret out of the truth, because people will intentionally misinterpret so that the understanding in the modern era is presented to you instead of the actual understanding. So this is what Josephus in book 1 says about Genesis 1 and about the firmament. It says, he also placed a crystalline firmament round it and put it together in a manner agreeable to the earth, and fitted it for giving moisture and rain and for affording the advantage of dews. Do you see here a crystalline firmament? So that means, you guys, that the firmament is hard like a crystal, that it is made out of crystal. And the Bible tells us this too. I don't think I had it pulled up, but let's go to Terrible Crystal. You guys, this is in Ezekiel. All right, let's just look at, this is Ezekiel 1:22. Let's go directly to, let's go backwards. Let's go directly to this one. Okay. Spread out, okay, let's go to King James. And the likeness of the firmament upon the heads of the living creature was as the color of the terrible crystal, stretched forth over their heads above. So you're literally, this is the, just in case we don't have any context here for Ezekiel chapter 1, this is when Ezekiel is with the captives of Judah, and they lived by the river Kibar. They were slaves there. They farmed the land there for the Babylonians. They weren't in the city. They were in the wilderness, and they lived by this river. And while they were there, while Ezekiel was there, he sees a vision of these creatures, right? And the creatures, these are the creatures with the four faces and, terrifying appearance. But above the heads of these creatures are this firmament that is going above all of their heads, and the likeness of a throne placed on top of that. And so when you look at these creatures, they literally had like a dome over top of all of their heads that was the color of crystal. That was the color blue, like the firmament is. So what does this represent? It represents, of course, the four beaches and the four creatures. I was going to say beasts. I put creatures and beasts together. The four creatures in the heavens that represent, don't represent, but they are at the throne, and they are standing at the throne, and they are screaming, set apart, set apart, set apart, kadosh, kadosh, kadosh. And above that is the throne of Elohim. This is what it represents on earth, on top of the firmament. Again, a solid structure. The Bible is not being obscure with this definition. It's being very specific. So we know that the that the kingdoms of the earth are actually all together in this wide deception. That this wide deception is meant to bring about some sort of change on the earth in the minds of men. That we know that people are being deceived by this. That this is an actual grand delusion, that people are replacing the home of Elohim with nothingness and billions of years of darkness, which we know in Elohim there is no darkness and only light. So there can't be billions of light years of darkness and then Elohim. It has to be Elohim, you guys. And so we know this because the people that they put in front of us that have determined the way that we think have left clues themselves about the nature of reality. One of them being, okay, so this is, I wanted to go here first. One of them being Wernher von Braun. This is a Nazi rocket scientist. This is the guy that came to the United States with the, the V-12 rocket, and he was the one that manufactured the rocket, or at least the blueprints, the design, the prototype for the moon landings, so that everyone would believe that we went to the moon, that this rocket technology shot the rocket all the way up and it came down and curved back into the ocean. This is why you have all of these NASA rocket launches in Florida, so that they can shoot the rocket deep into the ocean and have it crash and people think it's out in space somewhere. Do you see what I'm saying? But this Wernher von Braun left a secret message on his tombstone. So look at what he leaves on his tombstone. Say, you guys, we just came from this scripture. That is Psalms 19:1. The firmament showeth the handiwork of Elohim. Guess what, you guys? The existence of a firmament proves Elohim's existence. Just in case you didn't know, it says that Elohim's handiwork is the firmament. That this structure that is in the sky, this clock that is the sky is made of, is the technology that Elohim designed himself, and is the proof of his existence, you guys. You look, hey, where's the proof of Elohim's existence? You know, if the DNA molecule doesn't do it for you, if the complication of the complexity of the cell, where you have the mitochondria, where you have the ribosomes, where you have the nucleus, where you have the nuclear membrane that is sentient, that only allows certain things in and certain things out, that only lets out certain things, that has a code that you have to get through into the secondary messenger and the receptors, that it is almost cognizant of what goes in and what goes out, that the cell is more complicated than New York City, and it's at a microscopic level. If that's not enough for you, look at the sky and look at the clock that he left behind for us to be able to tell what time it is wherever we are on the earth, you guys, wherever we are. And so this is the technology of Elohim. This is the understanding of Elohim that they mean to hide from us, that they mean to completely leave out, you guys. So let's continue forward. This is what the heavens look like, you guys. If I could zoom in, I would love to just zoom into this, but you've got Sheol inside the earth. So the earth has hollow places on the inside, and this is where the souls of man descend into. You can check in Enoch chapter 22. Sometimes the chapters in Enoch are a little bit off. 22 or 23 area talks about the smooth places, the hollow places that are found in the earth, where the souls of the righteous and the souls of the unrighteous go, you guys. So no one goes into heaven when they die. The only people that did that were Enoch and Eliyahu, and we don't know if Eliyahu made it all the way through the firmament, but we know Enoch did, that he was changed, and then in his translation he was able to pass through the firmament. That's the only way. Flesh and blood cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven. This means there's no such thing as space, you guys. This means there's no such thing as space. And you can see the earth as a flat surface right here, and then the pillars of the earth underneath it. You guys, this is the real shape, the real form of earth and the heavens, you guys. There is no way around it. There is no piece of film that you can see. There's no eclipse that they can show you to change that. There is no anything that they will be able to present to you that should move you from the understanding that the Bible tells you. If the Bible is not enough, if you just must have physical proof of what the shape of the earth is, just look at the horizon, you guys. Oh, and of course they'll try to give you this as a, when you look up the horizon, they already know what you're coming for. You see what I'm saying? So look at this horizon, you guys. Doesn't matter what height you go to, the horizon is already horizontal. It is always horizontal. Whenever you're looking at the horizon, whenever you call it horizon, you're indicating that it is a flat, straight line. Water always finds its natural level, and its natural level is flat, which means the earth underneath it has to also be flat. And so people always say, oh, well, what is the sun going down? Well, what about a ship going down that's going across the... No, they're going across the curve and then going out. No, this is just the limit of your eyesight. Because look at the long ways. If you have a ship going from, let's say, west to east across this horizon, the horizon is a long way away. You'd be able to see, if it were curved, that ship was going up and then down. But you don't see that in any horizon. You don't see that in any level water or playing anything. You see what you see, this flat surface, you guys. And you don't see any ships going around a flat surface. You see it going across a flat surface, you guys. But they would try to tell you otherwise. They try to make you believe with their, before we understood the games that they were playing, when they claimed that they went to the moon, we believed they went to the moon. We didn't know anything about the shadows which make different angles. We didn't know anything about the supposed technology. We didn't know anything about the 8 astronauts who died before they found the 3 that they trusted with this lie to fake like they sent to the moon. Did you guys know that 8 astronauts died? Did you know that there was one astronaut in particular that was vocal, very vocal, about this piece of crap machine, the Apollo, the Apollo rocket and the space traversing the spaceship? And he said this piece of crap is not going anywhere. That astronaut was letting them have it. It's like, I don't trust this thing to take me nowhere. That astronaut that had the reporters laughing whenever they say, what about the technology here? He would say, oh, well, this technology is crap. I don't know how we're going anywhere. That astronaut was burned to death, you guys, in an experiment, in a procedure gone wrong. Him and 2 of his buddies were burned up. The 3 of them burned alive in a practice run for I think it was a re-entry practice run where they were able to experience heat. They turned the heat up on them and burnt them alive in this experiment that they were doing to get him to shut up, to shut him up completely. You guys, it's not a coincidence that 8 astronauts died before they found the 3 that they trusted, you guys. So this is what we're looking at. This is the extent that they will go to fool you into believing in space, believing in the round earth, and then believing in these creatures that are supposed to be coming from space. It's telltale signs right here of a religion, you guys, believing in space, believing in the round earth, believing in aliens, is its own religion. It is the world religion that everybody now belongs to. You already belong in a world religion, you guys. It's just waiting on the God to show up. You already believe in it. Reject it. And so let's just see some of the things that they are willing to do and say in order to prove. Now, the thing about it is you've got some popular people that have been coming out and saying that the earth is flat. And this is, of course, the obvious truth. But you've got people that are popular in the black community, and this is Lord Jamar. He's not, somebody that I grew up listening to or, paid much attention to. But other people do, right? And so this understanding coming from someone that people appreciate and someone that has been a figure in hip hop for the last 30 or 40, I guess it'd be 30 years, people will start to listen, right? And so in order to combat this understanding here, you guys will have seen a flurry of things happen in the media. You've seen this guy, maybe. This guy right here, his name is David McKeegan, I think. This guy right here, who has made it his mission to debunk
patches of the 24-hour sun,
to debunk the flat earth, right? So what him and some colleagues did is they gathered up a team and they went to Antarctica to prove that there is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, which would disprove the flat earth theory. Because we all know, we know that there's a 24-hour sun in the Arctic, in the North Pole, because of course the earth, across the face of the earth, the sun will move and it'll go into the middle and then come back out. So we know that the middle of the earth will get a 24-hour sun. But what is not understood, what is not applicable, is if the South Pole gets the 24-hour sun. And so they are determined, this group was determined to invite even flat earthers along with them to go on an expedition to the South Pole and actually track the South Pole 24-hour sun with all these different cameras, with all these different live streams, with all of these different angles and different groups to prove that the 24-hour sun exists at the South Pole, disproving the flat earth, you guys. And so I looked at this and said, wait a second, come on now. This is really not something that can't also be faked. You can have all sorts of digital, renderings of the quote-unquote South Pole and then just make it appear as if that you could even take the North Pole sun and reverse it and then put it in another environment and fake these live streams and fake these camera recordings. All of this digital, we live in the age of AI. So we know these things are easy to be faked. So I'm watching this and I'm looking and saying, what's the, and you guys will also look at the symbology here, and I will show you here that there's a lot of symbology with this guy. And so I said, what's the grift? What's the jib? Where's the play, right? Because you always know that there's going to be a play. This guy is also, since this debunking of flat earth, he's also come out against 9/11. He's come out against all these other conspiracies now. Now he's tackling everything else. The moon landing is possible. The 9/11 is possible. So he's just a debunker now. He's the the company man, the government, I guess you would say the government story is the one that he pushes. No conspiracies allowed, as if now there's no such thing as a conspiracy. So let's take a look at something interesting about this guy that I noticed and that a lot of other people noticed too. And so we'll let him talk for about 10 seconds here. Let's go ahead. It may try to play a commercial.
How might people try and suggest that this that I'm doing is fake? And what steps can I then take to further prove that it's real? Whereas for us, we applied that thought process to pretty much everything we did in Antarctica.
Did you guys see it? Right here at the 9-minute mark exactly. Let's play it again.
Any thought to how might people try and suggest that this that I'm doing is fake? And what steps can I then take to further prove that it's real? Whereas for us, we applied that thought.
Do you see what he's doing here at exactly the 9-minute mark? Is he throwing the hand sign? You see, you guys, and I'm not going to leave it on there.
Process to pretty much
satanic symbol. Do you see that, you guys? And now also look at this. Do you see him covering the one eye? And I'm not going to be able to get it. Do you see him covering the one eye and showing you? It says, how blatant can you be? Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see the symbolism that this guy is showing? Right at the 9-minute mark, to throw the satanic devil horns lets us know. You see, signs are what rule the world, but the underworld, so that they can speak to one another in code, so that they can know when it's a play that they're doing themselves. They have to include signs so that the people on the outside won't see, but the people on the inside will. And we who have an eye to see and are discerning and are led by the Spirit of Elohim, we can see these things. So when I saw him throw the horns, I said, there it is. He is pledging his allegiance to the master of lies, to the creator of lies. So what do you think this is going to be? All of this stunt that comes from this random person believing in the flat earth that could influence a lot of people. You have this entire expedition. They even invited other flat earthers to come with them so that they could prove to the flat earthers that the earth is round. And guess what? You have all of the flat earthers that are really kind of like halfway in, halfway out, that have been around a long time but are involved too. That you have plants in this flat earth community that are scheduled for things like this, for exposures, so that people's minds can be manipulated, you guys. You don't even have to do an expansive trick. It's just enough so that people will believe it, you guys. This is the nature of your reality. There is no way around that this is what this guy is doing. Right here at the 9-minute mark, right here, you can see where he throws the sign. And if you'll notice, this is the
and
most...
what steps can I then take to further prove that it's real? Right. Whereas for us, we applied that thought process to pretty much
you see him throw it? And not only that, I'm not the only one that noticed this. Almost everybody did. This is the most replayed. Almost everybody noticed that he threw the sign out there, which warms my heart, because that means Elohim is opening the eyes of people. That means he is showing people what is real, you guys. Do you see what I'm saying? This guy right here, no reason to be throwing that sign, and especially not exactly at the 9-minute mark. It's a sign. It's two witnesses. You're not going to have a coincidence where he throws it at the 9-minute mark. It is to show you that it was planned to be thrown at the 9-minute mark, you guys. But just in case that's not enough for people, let's take a look at some of the people which have tried to say some other things. So let me show you that there is the technology.
I did point that out to him in the comments of the video, and he said it's coming in a future video in a series, but as of yet, still waiting to see it. Now, as far as I know, this render of the TFE area in Unreal Engine wasn't created by Flatzoid, but was instead...
So you have to pay attention here, because this person is showing you how you can create a 3D render of a 24-hour South Pole sun without actually being there, without actually going there, without actually doing anything except for setting up this team and putting the sun in place. Look, just
and created by somebody else. It seems what they've done is mimicked the mountains and then added some tripods and an artificial light source. Then Flatzoid has overlaid this render on top of my time-lapse footage from Antarctica as a proof of concept to try and show that it could actually be fake. I think this whole idea has rather developed from the idea that we shot it inside a 300.
All right, so what we are looking for here is the concept that it can be faked, you guys. You have to understand that the concept exists for it to be faked, that the technology exists for it to be faked. Now, this guy obviously has an excuse as to why that this is not the case. He has, all of this reasoning behind this is not the way that it went, or we couldn't do this, we couldn't do that. There's all these things we couldn't get away with. But don't believe it, you guys, because it's showing you right here that the technology exists for you to fake it. If the technology exists for it to be faked, then it's faked, you guys. It's faked. And we know that they will go through a long series of foolishness to try and fool you, to try to get you to believe this false religion that they are hoisting upon you. You guys have to understand that it is imperative for them to do this. This is the religion of the anti-Messiah. You guys, if somebody shows up and is doing all of these superpowers and, is saying that he is from this other world, if you believe that those other worlds exist, you would tend to believe them. You would tend to fall right into that trap, you guys. And if you do, you'll be falling into the anti-Messiah religion, you guys. This is the beginnings of the anti-Messiah religion. This is what you need to watch for, you guys. This is what we are looking out for to see what they are trying to do next to us. You guys, there's lots and lots of stuff going on at the quote-unquote South Pole now, the Antarctic shelf. We know that there is no such thing as the South Pole, but check this out. This is going on at the same time as, because see, these experiments, these quote-unquote experiments, are going on about a month ago. All of this stuff has taken place recently, you guys. But check this out. There is foolishness afoot in Antarctica, because there's these scientists that are down here fighting. What are they fighting for down here? It says a group of scientists due to work together for months at a remote Antarctic research station has been rocked after a member of the team was accused of physical assault. This is going on right now, you guys. Around the same time as this team has gone down there to, film the 24-hour sun, other teams are down there fighting. What are they fighting about? What's going on down here? It says a team of 9 researchers were due to spend the Antarctic winter at the South African Run base, which is about 170 kilometers, about 105 miles from the edge of the ice shelf, and is difficult to reach. But the spokesperson for the South African government told the BBC there was an assault at the station following earlier allegations of inappropriate behavior from inside the camp. In a further message seen by the BBC, the South African Environment Ministry said it was responding to the concerns with utmost urgency. South Africa's Sunday Times, which was first to report the story, said the members of the team had pleaded to be rescued, you guys. So what is going on down there in Antarctica? So this group is said to be down there since February 1st. A vessel departed for Antarctica on the 1st of February, and the incident was first reported to the ministry on the 27th of February. So all these things are just now happening. What kind of incident? Why was the incident taking place? Is there something down there that people don't want you to see? Is there something down there that can make people flip out? Yeah, that's what's going on here. That you can't just go to the South Pole. You can't just go to the Antarctic shelf without having expressed permission and approval. These quote unquote debunkers paid people $30,000 to go. I mean, if you're being paid to go down there to the Antarctic, of course people are going to tell you whatever you want to hear. I don't care who you are. Of course, people like me aren't going to be trying to do anything like that because we know what the truth is. But if you're paying somebody to go down there, how do you know that you're not going to get assaulted when you get there? Do you see what I'm saying? How do they know? How do we know that you're not under duress to say these things? Do you see what I'm saying? And then you got this guy throwing the signs. Then you got, let's see. You got this guy throwing the signs here. I think this is in this one. He's throwing the signs here. He's throwing the signs here. And he's indicating to you that he is a part of a club that has lied since the beginnings of the world, you guys. Since the beginnings of the world. And so we know for an absolute fact that the earth is flat. We know for an absolute fact that the firmament exists over the earth, separating the waters above from the waters below. We know for an absolute fact there is no such thing as space. There is no such thing as other planets. There is no such things as the Apollo rocket trip to the moon. Apollo is the name of a Greek deity. Come on, you guys. It's very easy to see. This is the battle for Earth here. That the battle for Earth isn't around you. It's here. It's here. Will you believe Elohim's word that there is a dome-like structure that encompasses the earth that he created for the entire, all of the history of mankind to be able to look up at it and tell what time it is? Or do you believe in hundreds of millions, hundreds of billions of light years of nothingness? This is Yared Yao with Hebrew News.